Today we will talk about top 10 stocks to buy for 2023. 2022 was a terrible year for stocks. The S&P 500 has lost 20%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down nearly 10% and the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite plummeted more than 30%. Blame it on raging inflation, a hawkish Federal Reserve, the war in Ukraine or a looming global recession. CNBC's Jim Cramer on Wednesday offered investors a selection of stocks that he believes will do well this year. To come up with his picks, he examined the best and worst performers in the S&P 500 from last year and chose 10 potential 2023 winners from each list. 1. Charles Lemonides. Value Works Limited Partners long-biased, long-term strategy that finds disparities between a company's underlying assets and security price. 2022 return, 39.4%, 5-year average annual return, 23.9%. Chord Energy, CHRD. Market capitalization, $5.5 billion. 12-month revenues, $3.2 billion. Lemonides likes Chord Energy, which he calls ideal for a bumpy period in markets as it is a defensive play with huge cash generation that is selling at an exceedingly attractive valuation. 2. Air Lease, AL. Market capitalization, $4.1 billion. 12-month revenues, $2.3 billion. Lemonides is also a fan of Air Lease, which purchases commercial aircraft and leases them to airline customers worldwide. The industry has gone through as tumultuous an experience as one can imagine with the pandemic, but Air Lease has basically been financially healthy through the other side of that, he says. 3. James DeVolos. Kinetic Small Cap Opportunities Fund. Concentrated portfolio of small to mid-sized growth companies. 2022 return, 34.7%, 5-year average annual return, 21.9%. Casey International, CACI. Market capitalization, $7.1 billion. 12-month revenues, $6.3 billion. A long-time holding which the fund has owned for more than 10 years, DeVolos highlights defense technology company Casey International, which he thinks covers all the right niches that are relevant for national security. 4. Permian Basin Royalty Trust, PBT. Market capitalization, $1.1 billion. 12-month revenues, $42 million. Shares of Permian Basin Royalty Trust, which have risen 116% this year, could be poised for further upside in 2023, according to DeVolos. The trust itself is a passive royalty on the Waddell Ranch, the lease on which was bought by a private company Blackbeard operating just over 2 years ago. 5. Kimball Brooker. First Eagle Global Fund, wide-ranging portfolio of mid to large-sized growth and value companies, with hedges for volatility. 2022 return, -8%, 10-year average annual return, 6.2%. HCA Healthcare, HCA. Market capitalization, $67.8 billion. 12-month revenues, $59.8 billion. Brooker likes HCA Healthcare, the largest hospital company in the United States, with more than 180 sites of care because it has developed a market share big enough so they can use scale to create the best facilities around. 6. Comcast, CMCSA. Market capitalization, $153 billion. 12-month revenues, $121 billion. A long time and currently top 10 holding of the fund, Comcast may appear to have a mountain of debt, roughly $90 billion at the end of September. 7. Thomas Huber. T. Rowe Price Dividend Growth Fund, blend of large cap companies with a focus on dividend growers. 2022 return, -11.2%, 10-year average annual return, 12.6%. Becton Dickinson, BDX plus 0.2%. Market capitalization, $71.5 billion. 12-month revenues, $19.4 billion. Huber likes BD, which he calls a good defensive growth company that has reasonable earnings visibility. 8. Philip Morris International, PM. Market capitalization, $156 billion. 12-month revenues, $31.7 billion. A holding of the fund since 2008, Philip Morris International is a stock where you're paid to wait, thanks to a 5% dividend yield, according to Huber. 9. Christopher Marangi. The Gabelli Value 25 Fund, portfolio of companies selling below private market value, with 25 core equity positions. 2022 return, -17.3%, 10-year average annual return, 5.3%. Liberty Media Series C. Liberty Braves common stock, Butchirk. Market capitalization, $1.7 billion. 12-month revenues, $637 million.